Hi, and welcome to the Select Characters podcast. My name is Chris Anderson. I will be your host, and I'm joined, as always, of course, by my two American friends who are still living in the searing heat, Enrique Cancel and Sam Yates. Hello.
Hi.
I feel sort of bad, though, for you, Sam, because you had to turn off the AC, and you sounded really, really happy that the thing was there.
It doesn't matter. I'm nonplussed. Maybe not as much as Enrique, but it's all good.
We're on a countdown until Sam eventually passes out from heat stroke.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and that will be podcasted semi-live. Let's talk about video games, shall we?
All right.
All right, let's go.
And it has been another fantastic week for video games, and let's talk about them. Who wants to go first?
I can go, even though it's going to be a rehash, because Sam got me really interested in Rimworld, so I picked it up, and I have not been able to put it down. It's retarded fun.
Game's real good, right?
Dude, it's frustrating, but not enough to put it down. It's frustrating in the sense that, like, you know what went wrong, so you think you can fix it, so it just makes you want to try it again.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I know, but it's great, because, I don't know, like, that's the general, like, consensus of, like, what I've been playing, though. Like, I'll start with, I think I'm doing like the intro with like the 3 colonists. You crash land and you have to build it up. But it's like my first playthrough, I was kind of figuring everything out, and then everybody eventually starved to death because I couldn't, get a handle on, gathering enough food. So next time I start doing it, and then I think there's like a small, I don't know what happened, but they weren't cooking the food fast enough, so they were getting hungrier faster than they could cook food. So they were just eating the food raw, and then they got upset. One guy went berserk, killed somebody else. And then they turned to cannibals, and they just like evolved into like this whole like just awful cannibalistic culture.
As you do,
as one does.
Wait, do you have any form of control over what your colonists do, or
do
they just do their thing?
Oh, you totally do.
Yes and no. Like you can set up like, I guess like rules for them to they can only wander within this area, or they you can force them to do certain actions. But for the most part, you kind of just set everything up, and they live their lives out.
Right.
That's okay. Yeah. It's funny. I think I've almost gone through the same cycle as you, like beat for beat. When I first started playing, I had that same problem. They were just eating raw food and going crazy. They don't like that at all. And I can't remember. You got to get the food production going and have enough meals and kind of focus on a cook. Yeah, that's pretty important.
Yeah, and I actually didn't notice that too. When you first start off, you can actually select anything like for your characters. It just completely randomizes it. And I didn't realize how important having certain skills are in the game. Like cooking is like, I'd say almost a necessity unless you build like a food processor. Because if you don't have anybody that can cook, that food's just going to sit there and they're going to get desperate and eat raw.
Yeah, and that's not, they don't like that. The way I've heard it is that nutrient paste dispenser is kind of a holdover from earlier in the game, and that right now it's not as good as growing up strawberries or hunting your own meat and then cooking it. That's generally the better way to go.
Right.
But you have that game. It's funny because the more I play that game, the more I like it. As enthusiastic as I was about it last week, I'm now 10 times more enthusiastic. It just keeps getting better.
Wow.
And that's what's strange for me. Normally games sort of spike and then kind of taper off, but like the more I learn and the deeper I get into it, just the more I love it. It's so compelling.
Yeah, and I've had that same kind of revelation, and I think it's because of the balance the game strikes between that constant challenge, but it gives you enough breathing room for you to figure it out. So you never reach that plateau when you figure out the mechanics, then you're just kind of coasting the rest of the game. So you kind of lose interest, because I've had that happen with previous titles where, and I think it happened to me with Don't Starve. As much as I love that game, after a while you kind of get the hang of like, okay, this is how the mechanics work. This is how hunger works, and you know what to prioritize. So after a while, you eventually kind of beat the game in a sense, because you can just kind of stay alive and not have to worry about anything. But with Rimworld, I feel like because the AI director tends to kind of adapt and throw some curveballs, you're never going to be at that point where you're 100% like, okay, I can just coast the rest of the game. Something's always going to happen that you're not going to expect, and it's going to throw everything into disarray.
Yeah, and then even when you know that stuff, it's like you still get trapped between trying to pick between 2 or 3 different priorities, which is there's no guide that says this is the best thing to do when you have 3 things that are going to kill you, like if you don't take care of them immediately. And so
Right.
it's just like, and you get the broad strokes and you kind of get the general sense of what you're trying to do. And then it also hides a ton of additional information behind the screens in these little information screens and stuff like that. So if you want to get deeper into it, you can start dialing into things and seeing like the exact percentages that are going on and seeing exactly what some animals can eat, or there's just a ton of information that's actually cleverly, I think, hidden just behind. That way it's there if you want it, but if not, you don't need to interact with it.
Yes,
So the
especially with the
presentation's
animals.
great.
Like you can, the one thing that I've learned is pausing the game can be your best friend because it gives you a chance to actually look through everything. Like a habit I have is when everybody goes to sleep for the night, I'll pause it. I'll check on everybody's needs, status, see like what they're missing, if they're happy, unhappy, neutral, if they've had a fight, if they're lacking for something. Look at the animals in the area, see what they're what they eat, what their intelligence level is, see if they make sense to tame or if you're just better off hunting them. And you kind of like, it helps you set a game plan forward. Like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to work on for this day. Then you start time up and then you kind of just wait through and see what happens. Then sometimes, everything's going fine and you accidentally knock down a wall and you're met by these ancient mechanoid robots that killed your whole colony. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Dude, those goddamn scythes, man.
Yeah, those are bad. Their range is basically forever.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I thought the game kind of gives you a warning, which is nice, but it makes you. It's like when you see like don't push the red button, like your first instinct is like I gotta really push that red button right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an example of what I was talking about before, because I think if you dig in there, you see like I think the range on their guns I want to say is 37 tiles, which is enormous. But the range on a sniper rifle is something like 40. So there's a 3-tile gap there where you're basically at the maximum range of a sniper rifle, but you can shoot them and then they have to walk 3 tiles to you, so you can kind of micro your way around that and out of that. It just takes basically a whole day in colonist time because your chances of hitting those shots are really low.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like when you dig into those areas, like you'll get a little message that says, like so and so senses an ancient disturbance or an ancient evil, and like I said, it brings up that flag. Then you're like, I really want to see what's there now. Like,
Yeah, you want to know exactly.
yeah, like if you hadn't said anything, I would have just completely ignored that wall. But now that you mention it, it's like, I wonder what's in there. So like right now, I'm in a situation that sadly enough, like there's this hive of like those medical, I guess, mech units. They're called sites, and they're actually hidden right inside my base. They're just like off. The only thing separating between them and is like a little steel wall. That if I dig into it, it'll kind of release them all. But at the same time, there's a bunch of cryopods. There's like some psychic animal beacon, and this really like high tech superior weapon. And I really want to get that stuff, but I can't get through those like mechs. So right now, I just have like that wall of like waiting until I can actually get through it.
Yeah, just let them sit there. You can deal with them later. I'm going to tell you though that steel is flammable. So
I noticed, and that happened to me in one playthrough earlier where I guess I ran into some tribals that were not happy and they started attacking me, and I feel like, whatever, I'll just hide behind my steel walls so they get tired. And they set my walls on fire.
Yeah, but so yeah, you're going to have a situation that's bad and then immediately gets worse when that wall burns down.
Wait, is it actually working as intended, or is this just a bug?
No, it's
Yeah.
working as intended.
Steel should... Seriously?
Yeah.
What?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you build the walls out of stone, they don't burn. So
Yeah, and steel
that
is
makes me think that-
surprisingly like plentiful, so it's like a low tier resource, I'd say.
Well, you mentioned something about tribes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there like diplomacy present in the game? Can you actually like team up with them, or are they just there to sort of harass you every now and then?
Kinda.
Yeah, it's very bare bones. Like, I mean, you will get random tribes or visitors to your town or whatever you have, and you can open trade with them and stuff like that. And you can actually eventually build like a beacon to have more direct influence over that. Because at the very beginning, they just show up at random. But when you have like those orbital beacons or like those command consoles, you can actually contact them directly and try to set up like alliances or get people over to your town, or actually dictate when they come over. But and I think if you attack them, the whole kind of like village goes hostile, so you have to deal with them too. But it's very it's very limited. There's not like a lot of diplomacy like you would expect in other games.
So what will be the upside to having an alliance with those tribes?
I don't know.
Do you get extra resources, or did it just stop attacking you?
Probably they just stop attacking.
Yeah, I honestly don't know yet. Like the way the game, or the way I'm playing it right now, it's honestly I'm just kind of prioritizing things. Like the whole dealing with other tribes and trade is just something I don't want to deal with right now. I'm mainly focusing on. I have like a nice system set up where my colony is self-sufficient to a point where like I have enough food, I have enough electricity, I have enough power. So I'm going to focus on that, and then later on, when I feel comfortable, I'll try my hand at like diplomacy and all that.
Right.
I feel like you gotta trade, but that's like the most important thing. There's just stuff that you won't be able to get, like med kits. I don't think you can craft. You can make herbal ones, but you can't make like real deal med kits. So
that's the only thing that I've actually been actively hurting for, like just med kits, because fun fact, there's friendly fire, and it's very realistic in the sense that if you have a colonist just walk in the way of someone shooting a pheasant, they will get shot in the head.
Yeah, it sucks.
So I've had my fair share of accidents, and that can also hurt their mood if, Joe Schmo gets shot by Penny in the head.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think that's the only thing I've really actively been trading for, just medkits, because I don't think there's a way... I haven't researched anything yet, but I don't think there's a way to actually make them. So you're kind of like shit out of luck if you run out of them.
Yeah, you can grow plants. There's a plant called Heal Root, and when you harvest it, it makes little herbal med kits. But for the better ones that you need to treat the worst stuff, you need like actual, whatever, the blue ones, not the green ones.
Yeah.
That game's great, man. I still love it.
It sounds like a good game. Like it sounds like a very complex and layered game. But as someone who's not played it yet, like I'm thinking about getting it and trying it out. But
you should.
As somebody who has not played it yet, is it very intuitive for new players to sort of pick up the mechanics?
Nope,
not at all. It does not hold your hand. But again, it's weird because like for this kind of gameplay, that's kind of part of the enjoyment, that you land and you're completely blind. You don't know what the hell's going on, and then I think 2 minutes in, you get your whole town devolves into like a cannibalistic post-apocalyptic world, and you're like, okay, that's obviously something didn't work, so let me try that again.
Yeah, if you think of like your first 10 goes at it as tutorials, then you'll be fine, because every time you die, you're going to die from something different, and you're going to learn another thing that you need to watch out for, and you're going to learn another way to mitigate some stuff. Yeah, so in a way, that's the best tutorial there is, right? Trial and error.
Yeah, then that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's a lot of trial and error, but like I said, at the same time, I think it works for the style of game it is, because a lot of the enjoyment comes from you have one playthrough, you die, you're like, okay, I died of starvation. Let me focus on that next round. So, hey, okay, I fixed the starvation problem, but now they all die from exposure to the elements. Okay, let's figure that out again. And like little by little, you start chipping away at the hurdles, and you start kind of figuring out mechanics and how to improve them. And then that's kind of like what kind of sets you on your way. And
you get the best stories from when everything just goes to shit. So like that's worth it,
Yeah, it's like
I can see why. I mean, emergent gameplay seems to be the major driving factor behind the entire game experience.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's like that picture I put on Slack where it's just 3 giant wildfires and everyone's cozy sleeping in their beds. Like, this is okay.
This is fine. It'll all be fine. All right, so Rimworld, I just looked it up. It's in alpha on early access. It's alpha 14C, I believe.
Yeah. Well, it might be E now, I think. But those aren't like, those letters are just little fixes. It's not anything that changes anything radical.
Yeah. All right, but from what you've told me, the game already has a ton of content and a ton of depth. So jumping in now would be a fine experience.
Heck yeah. I mean, dude, yes, man, that's all I've played this week. I'm probably pushing 50 hours in that game, and I still love it. I still can't. I'm still thinking about what I want to do next time. I'm still thinking about my next start. And, like, this game, I mean, who knows where it's going to go? It's just crazy that it's so early and so good already.
Yeah, it's got some of the best things from Dwarf Fortress, where, like, Dwarf Fortress has, like, the whole randomization element where just weird things can happen that you're not prepared for, and you have to just adapt on the go. So it has that to a degree, and that's kind of part of what keeps the game interesting, because you always have a challenge coming up that you're not really going to be prepared for, whether it be raiders, whether it be an army of mad squirrels, or one of my playthroughs, I had the alpha angry beavers that came in and just ate all the wood, and I suddenly had no more resources.
It's good meat, though. Good, easy meat for hunting.
It is. But no, I mean, like I said, it's fun. If people like if anybody has ever played Prison Architect, that art style will seem immensely familiar, and I think that really helps a lot in terms of kind of easing in a little bit of like their learning curve, just kind of because it's very minimalistic, but it's helpful in conveying a lot of information at once, so it keeps you like really in the know.
It's a much better game than Prison Architect. Like much better.
All right then, Rimworld. Anything else?
That's it. This week I'm gonna pick up This Is the Police because I've heard really good things on it so far, and it was supposed to release this last week, but I guess there was a weird issue with
publishing or licensing.
Yeah,
or something,
the licensing.
Something of that
I guess
ilk.
the developers kind of didn't account for the time it would take to process everything, so it was delayed for a week. But hopefully more on that next weekend.
Well, it's just a week. That's not the end of the world.
Not yet.
So, Sam, nothing else?
That's
Just
it, dude.
Rimworld?
Yes, man. I've gone through like 4 colonies this week. I'm really almost getting there. I'm getting real close. And
You're close to your aha moment.
I mean, I'm getting close to winning. I mean, it's just, man, it's so good. I just wish I had more to say besides that, but the more I play it, the more I like it. It's just an infinite barrel of fun.
Dude, I'm super excited that I just discovered, was it microelectronics?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, to
The
build
downside
turrets.
is I have to find some fucking...
Dude, I was looking on a YouTube video from people playing from the last thing, and you could just build turrets from the start in the last one.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't have to research them at all, which is crazy.
Oh, damn. Okay.
That's weird, right?
I feel happy because I just finished researching them, so I have like a nice little turret perimeter.
Yeah, turrets are good. Turrets are definitely good. They didn't stop I still got the 20 squirrels, and they just ran right by. Like, the first squirrel got turned into pulp, and then the next 16 were just gone before the cooldown on the turrets had a chance to go.
I've only had like singular mad animals. I haven't had like a whole army of like mad possums or mad squirrels or anything like that.
It's real bad news, man. And the tooltip, I think, needs to be updated because it says, like, you know, there's a pack of mad animals. They can't go through doors. Just stay behind your walls. You'll be okay. And that... Like, that's accurate. They can't open doors because they don't have thumbs, but they can sure knock them down and just come right through. That's got to be changed. That colony, I had a colony going for like 1.5 real actual days, and I was really cruising along. And then I got like 30 boom rats that I couldn't. Dude,
those damn boom! Oh my god, they completely destroyed a colony because I actually had a bunch of them tamed. I'm like, all right, And the tooltip says, okay, they explode when they die. I'm like, all right, well, I obviously don't want to do anything with these. I'll just kind of, I don't know, maybe they're good for some kind of resource. And I had about 3 or 4 of them just kind of like wandering around the inside because I guess I don't know if there's a way to control where your animals go.
Yeah, you can. You can set a zone called like an allowed zone.
Okay,
and
I'll
then
do
you
that.
Assign the animals to it.
Because like they were literally just wandering indoors, and I guess one of them was sick and it was bleeding out because it got attacked by lynx, and then it decided to just walk into my bedroom and bleed out there and die. And as soon as it died, it just exploded, and then it was a chain reaction.
Boom rats, not even once, man.
Yeah, I'm actually going to play this game. You know, give it an honest go.
Good.
I don't usually go for that sort of game because I also didn't really go for Prison Architect. Like, didn't take to it as much as I thought I would.
Right.
That's because Prison Architect is not that great of a game. Like, let's just be real here. It's just not that great of a game.
I don't think I've spent enough time with that game to say that with any sort of certainty. There was nothing in that game that grabbed me from the get-go. So, you know, it's really hard to get into a game when the first 5 hours on you know, are really, really addictive.
You know, I really wanted to like Prison Architect, and the building part of it is fun enough, I guess. But there's no real, like, agency. Like, you know, you build your prison, but you don't really get to do anything with it. But when they released a story mode, I thought it'd be a lot more fun. Like, oh, you have to escape a prison. But the way it's implemented is you actually already have to have a prison pre-built to escape from, or you have to download one from the workshop. And it kind of sucks because so far my experience with that is you shake the bars on your cell, somebody comes, like police comes in, beats the shit out of you, and then you're unconscious for 5 days.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And then rinse and repeat. That's pretty much been my escape attempt so far for the past like 3 hours.
That's exactly my same experience. I wonder if they've changed that or not. But yeah, that's about what I got too.
I don't know what I'm missing, but it's literally like step out, get beat, back in the cell, wake up.
It's almost like life in a real prison.
Yeah.
Only not.
This is way better. Way better than that.
All right, I'll give it an honest go.
Yeah, do
at
it.
Some point.
Get in
month.
there, man. It's worth it. I'm telling you. You're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
Who knows? Who knows? Is it the same of Project Zomboid, I believe?
Did I say that?
I really like that
Is
either.
it?
No, wait, that was Enrique, wasn't it?
That one I used to like.
Yeah, there's no way I would
Jacques.
no way I would go to bat for Project Zomboid. All right, good. I was making sure I didn't have some like temporary flight of insanity or
Not
something.
a fan of it.
It's fine, but there's not good, but it's fine.
Yeah. All right. I was weak because apparently commercials do work on me somewhat, and after the whole craze with Pokemon Go, or the ongoing craze, I should say, I went out and I bought a Nintendo new 3DS XL with Pokemon Omega Ruby. I'm not a fan of the device, man.
Do you think that was their plan all along?
Just to trick you.
Probably. I mean, it all feeds into each other, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the same IP, and the screen you get on the 3DS, and when you catch a Pokemon, like the Pokeball scene is the exact same thing as in Pokemon Go. Not that would have anything to do with more sales, possibly, but you'd think that the success of Pokemon Go did help the success of all the other games on other consoles as well. I mean, it worked on me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't like the new 3DS.
No, me neither.
There's something about the device that feels off, and most of it has to do with the screen. They gave you a larger screen than with the normal 3DS or with the normal new 3DS, but they did not up the resolution, so it looks real bad.
Yeah, no. What
bad.
kills me is the exact same screen resolution for both models, regardless.
Yeah, and the pixel density is not very high, so the image quality isn't great, like, not at all. And I don't like the 3D because it doesn't really add anything to the experience, does it? I mean, most of the time I just have it switched off, and every so often I'll switch it back on for like a minute, only to then switch it back off again. It doesn't add much. And I feel like at least with Pokemon Ruby, I feel like the touchscreen doesn't really add anything either. The only two things I really like about the design is the speakers, which are fantastic for such a small device. And I like the overall like aesthetic design an awful lot. It's a very pretty machine. But then you turn it on, you have to do stuff on that screen with that stupid interface that's straight from the early 2000s. I'm just not a fan of it, and I actually wanted to bring it back to the shop because of that. I was getting really annoyed with how everything worked because it's Nintendo, so everything is ass backwards. But I couldn't bring it back either because I had already opened the box and played with it. So I'm stuck with it now, so I'm going to fucking enjoy it.
Yeah,
I've been playing an awful lot of Pokemon now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that new 3DS XL, I don't think it's worth buying as an upgrade to if you already have an XL.
It's not even worth buying as a first purchase of a Nintendo handheld. Jesus Christ.
It makes my pinky go numb.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
You said something on Slack about that. Like, what do you mean? Because I've been playing with it for 2 days now, and there's nothing wrong with my pinky.
Yeah, I don't know. Just makes my pinky fall asleep.
Just the way you hold it.
Every DS, all the way back to the original DS Fat. I mean, I've had basically all of them, and they've all made my pinky go numb. Not cool, man.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. Do you have that problem, Enrique?
Sometimes I do, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Huh.
Do they still come if you buy Does it still come with those weird little cards where you can scan them and put your face on those like whirly birds and stuff?
Yes. Oh. I've not used it.
The AR cards.
Yeah, man. You didn't use the AR cards?
I did at the very beginning, but
they're fun exactly one time.
I'll save that one for a rainy day.
Yeah, just
then.
think of them as disposable, basically.
I do want to talk about Pokemon Omega Ruby a bit. My last entry in the Pokemon series was Pokemon Silver on the Game Boy Color, which is 10, 15 years ago now?
Sure.
Something like
Give or
that.
take.
Pokemon got fucking weird, man. I mean, there's like beauty contests with Pokemon. You can give fucking Pikachu an outfit and stuff. What?
I mean, I think it's like the MMO effect where like they're just trying to add little things to keep people interested because the main formula is kind of running dry a bit.
Well, I bought Omega Ruby because I expected the same experience as I had on the older Game Boys, but in 3D or sort of 3D, chibi 3D, as it were. But there's like a ton of superfluous features. I don't really understand why they're there. The training aspect of your Pokemon, where you do like the weird fucking mini games and stuff. Like what the hell even is that? Why is it in the game? It's not particularly fun. The mechanics aren't particularly well designed. Why do I have to fuck about with poker blocks and berries and all that? What?
Do you get to pet them?
Yes.
Oh.
What? I don't know why,
That's
but
sweet.
apparently you can pet them, and some like it, some don't. My Pikachu really, certainly, he started cussing at me when I did it.
Oh no, that's the one I'd want to pet the most.
Yeah, you've got like beauty contests where you do moves, and then an audience responds to the moves. It's real weird, real weird. And I get the sense that the games have gotten a lot easier. And I actually talked about this with a friend of mine. Like, is it just me, or were the old games a lot harder? And apparently, yeah, I have not lost a single battle ever. I'm out leveling everyone I meet by like 4 or 5 different levels. So,
I mean, think of the age of entry too, though. When you first played Pokemon, how old you were and how much experience you had with that kind of game versus now. Like the concept.
I don't have more experience with the game because the last one I played is Silver.
No, but I'm saying like for kids picking up that game, I think like earlier on, they don't think they really had a concept of grinding for levels and making sure that you were at an advantage against like the gym leader and things like that.
I don't do any of that stuff. I just bring my Pokemon with me and then just ram A until the other one dies.
Yeah.
And that has worked out well for me so far. So
I've never done any of the Pokemon games because the animation speed has always driven me bonk.
Oh, it's pretty good in this one, actually. It's just that they inject animations fucking everywhere.
Got no time for
even
that.
When you have, like, even when you do stuff like break a rock or cut a tree down or something like that, it interrupts the gameplay with a little cutscene that does nothing at all but show the Pokemon, have it make its noise, and then poof, tree's gone. It's too much animation, man.
That's way too much.
That's like every single like battle move.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay with that because that was one of the things that actually drew me to get a 3DS and get a current gen Pokemon game on there, because now it's essentially like Pokemon Stadium was on the Nintendo 64, but a whole RPG surrounding it as well.
Sounds pretty. I mean, except for the screen, obviously.
Yeah, it's not pretty at all. I mean, through the pixelated bullshit that passes for a screen, I'm not impressed, man. This is the first time in 15 years I bought a Nintendo product, and I'm telling you, this is the last fucking time I will.
I don't know, man. Maybe the NX will blow it out of the water.
Yeah, maybe. You can play Fire, and plus you can play Fire Emblem. You can play Animal Crossing.
Oh, dude, Fire Emblem.
You can play Mario Golf. There's a lot of good games on there. I mean, they're not exactly lookers, but there's some fun games.
Yeah.
I could have just dropped an additional €30 and got an Xbox One. Should have done that,
But
actually.
then you wouldn't play any good.
Oh, snap.
Oh, wait, is this the part where I have to be offended? Because I don't actively own an Xbox One.
No, I'm saying that you should go
I
out
don't
and buy
either.
like Majora's Mask than the 3DS.
Oh, yeah, you should buy that one. That's a great idea.
I've played that one. It's a terrible idea.
should play it again.
I like it. Didn't like
What
it.
is wrong with you?
He doesn't like video games. I've been trying to tell you this for the last year.
I don't know why we're doing this video game podcast with a non-gamer.
I've been trying to tell you. Nobody ever listens to me.
Jesus Christ, people. Give me a fucking break. But yeah, 3DS, I'm sort of stuck with it now, reluctantly. So I'll just keep on playing it then, I guess. I'll try your damn games. I'll try your damn Mario
I could just
games.
imagine the frown on your face when you're playing Pokemon. It's probably the worst.
I'm not
sorry to
enjoying
hear
this,
that.
but I'm going to keep playing.
I hate it when that
paid for
happens. Yeah, it's like the worst feeling.
I'd pay to watch a live stream of Chris playing Pokemon and just not smiling.
Oh,
just
it'd be
a
awfully
scowl.
boring. It would just be awfully boring, really. I mean, if you'd pay for it, fine, we can have this whole thing arranged, but it's going to be an awfully boring time for you, mate, I'll tell you that much. Let's move on from the bad 3DS to another early access game that I've been playing, and that is We Happy Few. That is not the game I thought that it would be, and if I read the internet correctly, nobody expected the game to be the way it is.
At all, but can you blame them? Because I heard
What is the way it is?
it's a survival game.
Oh, well...
Really?
It's a randomly generated first-person roguelike stealth/exploration game that is set in a dystopian version of 1960s England. Wait, no, is it 1960? Yeah. That has been transformed from regular England to a crapshoot, essentially, because the Germans tried to invade in the Second World War, and the people in England had to do something so bad that the guild wrecked the entire country. So they have to take this pill called joy, which suppresses all the negative thoughts and makes everybody like psychotically happy. That is the premise of the game, and you play someone who stopped taking his joy and now has to escape the country.
So it's like Equilibrium, the video game.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not the first time I've heard that comparison. Yeah.
Oh, it's like Brave New World-ish.
Yeah.
It's
sort of.
Let's say it's a
look
theme
at it
that's
more
been
like,
done.
Possibly. But you could look at it this way. It is Equilibrium mixed with BioShock Infinite, because the art style and just the art style is very reminiscent of the BioShock series, which is definitely a good thing. It's very atmospheric. The world looks incredible, and none of it feels randomly generated either, which is good. It's actually a pretty enjoyable game for what it is in this stage. There's not much in the way of a story. They promised that there will be 3 different stories with 3 different people coming in version 1.0, but they're in an alpha yet, so they're in an alpha now, so only the intro exists in that game, and after that you just go do whatever the fuck you like in that game.
I didn't get any of that from the trailer. Give me like a life. So I spawn and I'm playing We Happy Few. What happens next?
You have to take care of stuff like thirst or hunger or sleep deprivation. You have to make sure that you fit in with the neighborhood that you're currently in. Some are full of people who've lost everything. It's basically a slum. And another one is a neighborhood where people all take their joy and it looks really nice and classy and stuff like that. It's really hard to explain what that game is at this point, because it doesn't have much apart from random quests that you can come across and just the overall survival aspect. It's not the mechanics that make me play that game. It's the aesthetic and the mood, which is very, very good and very dark and moody.
How do you lose? You just get too thirsty?
If you die, if you've got the permadeath option turned on, you can start all over again.
But what kills you, I guess,
is
my question.
Other people, police agents who find out that you're not on your joy and they will beat you mercilessly.
How do they do that? I'm sorry. I'm really
by
curious.
beating you mercilessly.
No,
Yeah,
like how does the joy fit in? Like how do people know that you're on or not on?
Well, okay, this is pretty cool. Like the world is very moody and dark and mostly dark tones, right? But if you find a joy pill somewhere, you take that. All of a sudden, your character walks with a spring in his step. There's cheerful music. Everybody around you looks very cheerful. It's stuff like that.
Oh,
and
so
to get
you do
through
have
certain
to take it. I see.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes to get past specific people or to get past specific checkpoints that have like a sort of Tesla coil-like device there that will kill you if it measures you and finds out that you're not on joy. So that is the only thing you can do with joy right now, but one would think that...
Can I ask you some other weird questions?
Sure.
I'm very interested, actually, now that I'm
Sure.
hearing about it, besides what I saw in the trailer. I thought it was just going to be like a story game. But like, what makes you different that you can take joy and then not just all of a sudden keep taking it again because you're already on it? Is there like what's different about you, I guess? Or do they do that?
Well, they don't explain that. That's because the story mode's not really there. Only you have the intro that sort of explains. Well, it doesn't really explain. It sort of sets the tone and introduces you to the world a little bit, but it's not really explained why you decide to stop taking joy at the start. There's a little reference, like you work in a sort of newspaper department, and you have to sort of approve good news that comes into your office and censor bad news. Like no bad news is allowed to leave the building, and none of it is allowed to be printed in a newspaper. And there's something about riots, I think, and your brother died during those riots, which is why you started taking joy. But for some reason, you remember it at a specific point, and you stop taking it, and then you escape.
Oh, weird.
But more than that, I won't be able to tell you when it comes to the story.
I guess back to the survival elements. Like how does that fit in with gameplay wise? Like do you just like walk around from house to house like DayZ style, or?
Yeah, a bit. You will happen upon people and specific objects that will trigger a quest, and then you just go out for a quest. Bring X item to person Y, stuff like that. And I do feel like in respect to the survival stuff, I do think that at this point the meters that keep track of that they deplete too quickly at this moment. Like you'll be starving within 10 minutes of you eating your last meal and stuff like that. It's very rough when it comes to those mechanics, but it doesn't feel rough in the way it looks and plays. I encountered maybe 1 or 2 bugs, but nothing that prevented me from continuing on. So hats off to them for that.
All right, neat. I guess we just got to wait and see. I mean, right now it sounds like it's much more about, like you were saying, the art style and environment stuff.
I would still recommend it at this point in development, though. It's definitely one to watch. If you don't want to buy it now, that's fine. But it is one to watch. And if you've got a few euro or dollar or your regional equivalent, whatever, if you got that lying somewhere and you need to spend it, I think We Happy Few is a really decent choice.
How much is it?
Was it 29, whatever?
Just buy Rimworld, same cost.
I didn't really check the price. I just used my PayPal account that had money.
I was actually about to ask. So, because I saw a couple of reviews and a couple of people are actually really upset and reviewing it negatively because the game doesn't pitch itself as a survival game, I guess. Like when they look at it, they think it's going to be like, oh, it looks like a similar BioShock like first person shooter, and when they pick it up, it's a completely different experience. I mean, do you think that's affected your enjoyment of the game?
Oh no, definitely not. I was more like pleasantly surprised. Like, oh, I did not think I was going to do this, but fine. This gives me a reason to explore every nook and cranny of this world, and find out more about it. So I actually think that those mechanics, those survival mechanics, are a really good fit for the gameplay and for the world.
Neat.
Yes. Did I play something outside of that? Nothing I haven't talked about before. So shall we just go into the news?
Yeah, all right, let's do that.
How do you feel about teraflops?
Awesome. Love them.
How about 11 of them?
Is that a lot?
It's one more than 10.
I think that's a lot. I don't know much about technology, but I do know that 11 teraflops apparently cost you $1,200.
Whoa.
Nvidia announced a new $1,200 Titan X GPU. It has 12B and transistors. If people out there listening know what that is, good for you. But it's got 12 gigabyte GDDR5 memory with a memory bandwidth of 480 GS per second. Mm-hmm. Power detailed at 250 watts and a recommended power supply of 600 watts. Supports up to 8K visuals at 60 hertz.
I know some of those words.
Yes, I know some of them. I know what the name Titan means in reference to Nvidia. It's a card that's not really meant for gamers, but it's more meant for like people who make video and stuff like that. The film industry, for instance. But it's a new card. It's top of the line, probably the best card we have seen up to this point. And it's so fucking expensive. Like, why would you need so much power as a normal consumer, right?
Yeah, I think the old Titan was 1,000 when the last one. So that, I mean, they're about in the same price range. Something to look at and be like, oh, that'd be so nice. Just something like that.
And it comes at a standard clock speed as well, so you can overclock that thing. Don't know why you would ever need to do that, but you can overclock it still.
I mean, with most things, I find that if you give the consumer the ability to do it, they'll find a use for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, if you buy a card, this card, you'll be set for like the coming 5 to maybe 10 years. I don't see technology advancing past this point that quickly.
That's awesome. They got a good thing going with that on the back of the 1080 and the 1070. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's got Pascal enabled as well, which is that new architecture thing, I believe. I don't know enough about graphics cards, but apparently this was really big news. So, I just had to mention it.
Yeah. What happens with me is I don't look at it at all, and then when I'm looking to upgrade, I consume everything I can find about graphics cards and computer parts, and then go for a year or two like not looking at anything because it doesn't matter at that point. I'm not like so much of a serial upgrader that I keep ahead of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. I'm not due for a refresh anyway because I just bought the 480, which is a card that can't really compare to the powerhouse that is the Titan X, obviously. But I'm good for now. I mean, I can play Hearthstone. It's 1080p, 60 frames per second. I'm good.
There you go.
Yeah.
As long as you can play the games that you want, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah, Overwatch at max settings at 60 is also doable. So I've got that, and that's actually why I wanted to get the card anyway. There's going to be a local multiplayer option coming to Telltale's Batman. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah, it allows people watching the same screen to vote on game choices using their own devices. So people that you invite to watch along can vote, and then you tailor the story together as you play together. And it's designed for between 4 and 12 players.
I don't really think that should count as multiplayer. I don't know.
That's weird, but I get the use case for that. I know that a lot of people play those Telltale games with like their significant others or like other people, and the other person kind of watches it almost as if it was a TV show, and they talk about what they want to do and where they're going and all that kind of thing. I've heard about that happening, so it's interesting to kind of actually cater to those people.
So they basically just took Twitch Plays Pokemon and applied it to their game?
Yeah, sort of.
Much lower scale, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the concept where like it's... I don't know. Like, yeah, I've played things like Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us, like with my girlfriend or somebody watching. But it's usually like majority of the time it's me playing, they watch, and then every now and then they'll chime in like, "Oh my god, you should do this!" Like, "Oh, I can't believe you just did that." I don't know how I'd feel about having like 3 or 4 up to 12 people just fucking up my game.
Yeah, especially because they can override your choices. Unless you specifically tick an option somewhere in the options menu that allows you to override them.
Then they're not really playing.
But I can... well, they are. They are making the choices with
Not
you.
really. It's they have the illusion of choice, but if you're overriding them, it doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah, I'd switch that.
I feel like there's definitely a point in that curve where it starts to degrade. I don't know if I would go all the way up to 12.
Yeah.
Like, I think 3... maybe you're still doing all right, but like once you get into maybe 6, maybe even 5, you're gonna have some bad apples in there that are gonna just wreck your game. But you're not thinking of it as your game at that point anymore, though, are you? You're thinking of it as our game.
Our
game.
Game.
That we all play together.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I'm not.
Go on.
I'm just being cynical. I just feel like a lot of people have been complaining about Telltale's getting stale, and instead of them actually trying to do any kind of innovation, they just figured like, hey, let's throw out a cute gimmick that'll make our games be streamed more.
Yeah, you don't... Well, they specifically said this is not meant to be streamed. This is for home parties and stuff. Plus, you don't really know if there's anything new in the Batman thing. You saw the trailer, I take it?
Yeah, I mean, but it's...
Looks a lot better than the other one, so they definitely upgraded the engine. Who knows what new mechanics they've got? I mean, Batman is a man of action, if nothing else.
I can tell you I don't know, dude. It's probably going to be a quick time events and some looking around the level and finding a highlighted item for you to inspect.
A bunch of people trying to ship Batman and Alfred.
What? People do that?
They will, man. There are people who tried to ship Chloe and Max. Which is ridiculous.
I can to see that one.
Nope.
Dude, for real?
Nope.
What? Okay, state your case. Why?
My case is that Planet of the Apes dude is way cooler. But I can't remember his name because I played it a long time ago. But what I'm saying is, you get enough people in the room, and all of a sudden now I have to, like, now we're shipping Chloe and Max. Not cool. Right. Not cool. Other people.
Now your choices don't matter.
But if any 2 characters should be shipped in Life is Strange, it is Max and Chloe. Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's okay to be wrong.
I know, that's why
anyway.
It is okay for you to be wrong.
All right, I've got one more to get through.
All right.
And that is our old friend Pokemon Go is back on the show again. By the way, the leaders for Pokemon Go have now been released, and is it just me? Candela is pretty cool, Blanche is cool, and Spark looks like a fucking idiot.
The leaders? What does that mean? I don't know what that is.
Oh, the leaders of Team Valor, Mystic, and Instinct, they were just silhouettes at the start of the game, but now like the full the full drawings have been released.
Oh, weird.
So now you can see what they actually look like. And people have obviously rallied behind them already because the internet is the internet, and the internet can be pretty wonderful, especially when it comes to Pokemon Go. But Spark, Team Instinct, raw deal.
Why is that?
Really
Is that
raw
just
deal.
because you're Team Valor?
Oh, no, he looks like an idiot.
No more than Candela. With her.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah,
I
man.
resent the accusation.
This is what the world needs: is more tribalism. Let's do this. Can we do a quick round? Like, who's?
I think we're each on each team.
I mean, no. I mean, like, as far as, are you playing it? Do you know people who are still playing it? What's the? How do you think the general
a couple people still playing it. I mean,
participation level?
Oh, there's loads of people still playing. Yeah, definitely. When I go into town, I see loads of Pokestops that have lures on them and people sitting around. Just last week, I went to a little. I went to a place in my town that had 3 Pokestops on the exact same street within like arm length of each other, and all 3 of them had lures, and were like 20 to 30 people just sitting around playing Pokemon,
Okay.
leering at each other.
All right, I guess it's still going then.
It is, yeah, and that actually feeds into the story I collected here. Pokemon Go has surpassed 75 million downloads, so
That's a lot.
seriously.
That game's really popular. Really popular. And it's not looking like it's going to stop anytime soon. The server issues have been getting better, though. I mean, have you found that? I've got less errors. I've got less lag. Stuff actually works now.
Yeah, I haven't really had any issues logging on. I do get the occasional like GPS error, but for the most part, it's pretty stable.
There's still that 3 footstep bug, though.
Yeah,
right?
I figure it's a feature, not a bug.
Sounds right. You might as well learn to live with it. I haven't booted that thing up in a week. I just don't. I lost it. I lost interest. But
Yeah, there's plenty of little game to be found if you're looking for a game to play. But I think that might be not necessarily the wrong way to look at it, but not the most optimal way to look at it. Because it's not really meant to have engaging mechanics. It has to be supplemental to the other major draw, which is walking around and meeting other people who play that.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I feel like I got to a point where if they add something and make it cool, I'm at a point where I should be able to jump back in and springboard up.
Okay.
But otherwise,
Maybe. They are going to do, well, that's what I heard anyway. They've not really confirmed this, but this is what I've heard through the grapevine. But the legendary Pokemon will be added to the game in the form of events that lots of players will have to attend in order to unlock, which I love. That is a really cool idea.
To I guess a little bit of a spin-off though. I was reading a couple of threads on Reddit and stuff, and a couple of was it Ingress players? That's the game they had before Pokemon Go, right? That Niantic designed. I guess they were expressing a little bit of frustration, kind of telling people to taper their enthusiasm because if Ingress is any indication, Niantic won't be putting in that much effort to maintain Pokemon Go. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Ingress didn't have 75 million people.
that's what I'm
playing.
saying. Like at the same time, like I can see their hesitation with having the personal experience with the developer, but at the same time, no offense, but I don't think that they were nearly as invested as Ingress as they are with Pokemon Go, considering how much money it's made them.
Yeah, I don't really think that applies, well, at least not to the degree that we'd want to, because through all these server problems, through all the bugs and stuff, they've not commented on it at all.
But and that's actually one of the complaints that they had, because they mentioned that Ingress, whenever something went down with the servers, that Niantic is just awful with customer service in general and just customer facing.
Yeah. They haven't got a community manager. They've got an ad on their website saying that they want a community manager and that they're accepting applications for a community manager, but they've not got a community manager presently, which is ridiculous, really, especially if the game has that many people playing. You can't afford to be silent. You just can't do that because you'll lose a large chunk of your player base. They've already lost a large chunk of the player base.
mean,
you don't want it to drop any further.
Yes
do
and
you?
no, because at the same time, I think they're also playing it smart, because unlike other developers that really should not be saying anything until they get a community manager, I think they're being intelligent, saying, you know what, let's just not say anything, because we're just as likely to fuck it up and cause people to get outraged.
Yeah, but they could at least acknowledge the problems that the game has. They've not even done that. and that doesn't really inspire confidence in their abilities to run this game for longer stretches of time.
I don't know. I mean, I think it also stops people from getting a target because of the fact that they haven't said anything. You can't really blame them, on anything specific either way. It's not like
apart from the ongoing server issues, the ongoing bugs that are not being fixed.
Yeah, okay, but
there's enough that you could hate them for at the moment.
All right, let me put it this way: like when people are complaining about like the server issues, how much is it them saying, "God, Niantic really sucks about these server issues," or "Man, Pokemon Go keep crashing and they have service issues"? Like, I
think the server issues suck even more because you actually have to go somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, man, oh, cool, I guess Overwatch is down for an update, let me play something else. It's like, I drove to the mall, and then, oh, crap, I can't even log on. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
What am I going to do here now?
It's like a wasted journey.
I don't know if that's actually an exacerbating factor, but I think it's definitely unique to this platform that other games don't have.
I mean, I would.
Yeah, like
it depends how you play it, though.
If your game's broken on a fundamental level, it's not good.
I don't know, it depends how you play it, because there's people that pop it out when they're already somewhere. Like, if I'm at the mall, I'm like, hey, let me check my Pokemon Go. And versus us people that are like, I'm going to go to the mall just to see if there's any Pokemon there. That's...
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter, though. It doesn't really matter. The end result is the same. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, regardless of when you grab your phone to play it. If it doesn't work, that's frustrating.
I mean, the level of frustration is different, though, because, I mean, if I'm already at the mall and, like, Pokemon Go doesn't work, I'm like, oh, fuck that, I'll check it later. Whereas if I went out specifically to play Pokemon Go, then I can understand being frustrated on that.
Yeah, that has happened a bunch of times over the past couple of weeks.
Also, with the
really
real money items that are tied to real time. So if you do something that's supposed to last for 30 minutes and you don't get your full 30 minutes, that's a bummer.
That I can understand. Like using money to buy coins and then the coins to buy incense and then having that be wasted because the servers are down.
Yeah, I just think they have a lot of aspects of that game that sort of make server issues worse than they would be otherwise, like more than just a mild inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Like the bugs I can stomach, but make sure that the GPS works, that it's actively tracking where you are. And it's not even doing that sometimes. That's like one of the biggest draws that your game has. Make sure that works before you fix the other stuff.
Yeah.
Stop adding countries to the list of countries that are logging in and hammering the servers every fucking day. Fix the servers first and then add more people. I mean, they did it for Japan. It wasn't released in Japan until last week?
And then Hong Kong as well and all that.
Yeah. I want that game to be good. I want that game to be good for a very long time, because as a social thing, it is fantastic and it is unique. And it would be a shame if I had to stop playing it because it doesn't work, or because Niantic doesn't really care enough to address the issues in a timely fashion.
Ooh, I guess on the lighter side of the Pokemon Go news, did you guys hear about the Pokemon Master that's getting a sponsored trip around the world?
Wait, go on.
Yep. There's a guy in the States known as Nick Johnson. He's from the New York area. I guess he's caught all 142 Pokemon that you can actually catch in the States.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And he's Team Valor, by the way, which goes to show...
He's retarded.
What is
I
red
understand,
never die.
Oh, my God.
No, whatever. No, but I guess like he's getting a sponsored trip by, I want to say Marriott?
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain Dew and Doritos. No, but I guess Marriott is... The article didn't make it very clear if he was just taking advantage of like Marriott rewards he already had, or if they were actually officially sponsoring his Pokemon journey. But the idea is that he's going to travel the world to like Paris, Sydney, Hong Kong to like catch exclusive Pokemon that are only in those areas. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was interesting that I guess he's actually, we have a Pokemon Master that's going on tour.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
If I had enough disposable income, I would go and get him first.
I mean, it's not like, he won't be able to catch him afterwards.
I know, but then I would be like the first Pokemon Master in the world.
Yeah. We should do like Pokemon Go around the world in 80 days.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Or like get a race. That'd be more interesting. You know what? We should contact Marriott and actually have this be like an amazing race for Pokemon. Let's see if we can beat this guy.
All right, you do it.
Yeah,
keep us posted.
I don't want to play that game enough to make that happen.
I mean, I'm more impressed because I didn't actually realize that there were certain Pokemon that were limited by continent.
Yep, I think Mr. Mime is tied to
Yep,
Europe.
and then I guess Farfetch is Hong Kong, and then Kangaskhan is only Australia.
What do we have? Is there one in North America?
I don't know.
Probably.
Oh well.
Yep, Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely still a thing. It's pretty big. But that brings us to the end of this week's episode. I'm looking forward to next week because I'm going on holiday for 3 weeks. Every work day for the first 3 weeks of August, I'll be gone. So I'll probably not have much to talk about in the way of me playing games. But I'm looking forward to hearing more about Rimworld.
You should be. Yeah.
You should. Let us know
And
your
you got a DS now, so just because you're not at the house doesn't mean you can't play video games.
That's true. I just have the one game that I'll just got Pokemon Ruby. Maybe I should buy a couple more ones just to bring with me. All right. Anyway, if you want to follow us on social media, links in the description down below. We've got YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please consider giving us a review. It doesn't matter how many stars you give us. We'd love it if you give us 5 stars. But please explain why you think we deserve 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. We'd love to read your comments. We love to hear what you like about us or what you don't like about us. We have a Discord server as well. Again, link in the description down below. You can hang out and chat with us and maybe play some games with us. My name was Chris Anderson for Select Characters. I was joined today by Samuel Yates and Enrique Cancel, and we will see you next week.